Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Coming up
New Year's
soon.
Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Day
Unless
31.
you're listening to this at a different time.
Right, because it's not just for the Spiritual Mentors program people who will have their first class coming up. As Lisa said, it's for everybody.
Yes, at any time.
Right, so we're actually on day 31, and since we're doing this for December, this is the last one we're going to have on prayer.
But
Now,
there's just so much more in the catechism, so
Right.
keep going in the catechism. But this is just something we thought was just
good.
struck us.
Exactly.
Yes.
So what do you have, Lisa, for this final prayer episode?
So 2604.
We went one more.
So, yeah. So Jesus is praying before he raises Lazarus from the dead, and he gives thanksgiving to the Father before he even raises Lazarus
Right.
from the dead. He says, Father, I thank you for having heard me. And that's what our prayer is all about. Like, God hears us, whether he answers our prayers in the way that he doesn't always answer them the way that we ask for them.
Nope.
He answers them in his way, which is the better way. But we can thank God in advance for hearing our prayers, because he hears all of our prayers.
Reminds me of the Casting Crowns song, I will praise you in the storm.
Mm-hmm.
So even when there are difficulties going on, and even when maybe God doesn't answer our prayers the way we would hope, we still are giving God thanks and praise for who he is.
Yes.
Knowing that his will and his plan is greater and better than our plan in the context of everything that's going on. And I think this is really important, Lisa, because prayer is intended to help us to affix ourselves on heaven, to affix ourselves on God, our Creator, and to have a greater poverty of spirit in living out our lives, a greater dependency on God, a full dependency, frankly, on God. And so prayer does exactly this, right, is that we turn our eyes upward to God and we give him our full attention. And honestly, as you do that, you begin to hear him more and more throughout the day, and even more interestingly, is when you're not looking at him, he's like, hey, you're not looking at me because of what you're doing. I know you're not looking at me, or what you're thinking, I know you're not looking at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a quick conviction.
Oh, yeah.
Because your eyes, when they are no longer trained on God, you hear his voice, and he reminds you that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. And then when we're thanking God in advance, or even just for hearing us, then we're giving him praise for who he is and not what he gives us. So we're showing how much we treasure him.
Yeah, our relationship with Jesus should not be transactional, right? Well, okay, Lord, you didn't give me what I asked for in my prayer. What's up with that?
Yeah.
And so I'm just not going to ask you anymore. Not a good idea. I love what you just said. I mean, we have to give God thanks and praise no matter what.
Yes.
Because ultimately he is the one, that hopefully we will be giving thanks and praise to for all of eternity. And so now would be a good time to start practicing that. Because if we don't practice it here on earth, we may not get a chance to do it for all of eternity.
Right.
Kind of scary
It is.
for me. What are you looking at? You got another paragraph?
Yeah,
for
so
us?
now 26:16, we jumped ahead.
Whoa.
But this ties in so well, and it says that Jesus always responds to a prayer offered in faith, which he does, just not always in our way, but in his better way.
Right, and I think this is hard for people to swallow.
Yes.
Oftentimes because it's like trying to make sense of God and why he's permitting things to happen or why certain things aren't happening. And you can really get your head wrapped around the axle with this kind of stuff. But ultimately what the Lord wants us to do is just keep our eyes on him to maintain that peace or that joy, whatever the situation may be that we're dealing with, that we don't get distracted by things that are not of God, or emotions or feelings that are going to create a division between us and God, which is what the devil wants, right?
Yes.
Through the circumstances of life. To know that even though we may not understand how things are playing out, that we have to just keep our eyes and our hearts with God.
It reminds me of something we came across yesterday when somebody shared that they were struggling with some anxiety, and the person just wanted to run to the chapel and pray more.
Yes.
And that's like absolutely what we like our heart should lead us.
And the other part of that is by saying it out loud, what they were struggling with, they brought it to light.
Yes.
And so within our community that was here last night, just bringing it out into the light takes away its power.
Yes.
And so when we share with God and we share with others those things that we are struggling with, it diminishes the power that the devil wants to have over whatever that is.
Which shows the
good stuff.
fruit of spiritual mentorship. Like, you can talk to someone who is journeying with you, or a group in this case, and like you said, it helps bring the light out of the situation and suppresses the darkness.
I like it. Well, hey, that's it for prayer. We'll see you for identity starting tomorrow. I'm Deacon Dave.
I'm Lay President Lisa.
See you next time.
Bye. Did you